Welcome back to the When Dreams and Action Collide podcast. I'm your host, Joy Lene, your productivity powerhouse. And today I am talking about building your fundamentals, consistency in the basics. Now, I first heard about this when I read the book Arate by Brian Johnson. It's a very thick book, a very big book. It's like 900 pages, but the way it's broken up, it's like kind of like a little mini devotional, but it's not. Just about different things of mastering, your basics, the fundamentals of life. He throws in a bit of philosophical stuff in there, but it was just really good the way it was put together, and I highly actually recommend reading it. But this thing that he just kept talking about and kept coming back was like your fundamentals, your basics, and being consistent in them and dominating those. And when you begin to do those, you will see so much growth in your life as well as success, and how like just establishing a baseline of things that you do consistently, how it brings so much growth. And, sometimes people call them like disciplines of life. But yeah, he mainly highlights them as like fundamentals or the basics. So that's what I wanted to talk about today, because I think this is so good. We're coming towards the end of the year, and most people are like, the end of the year, let's just get to it. And then I'll start doing what I need to do January 1st or in the beginning of January. When it's like, no, we can begin to do those things now and just see tremendous growth begin to happen and compound, ready to go into 2025 like really well, start off really well, rather than like, oh, I need to gain momentum and go up to it. So that's why I really want to talk about this. And I'll specifically be kind of honing in on the areas of like your spiritual life, your soul, your mindset, and also your physical body. So that's where I'm going to take this from. And this is so important for growth and establishing this. If you can dominate and consistently do the basics, especially in these three areas, you will see tremendous growth in your life. I began to do this as I started reading this book, and I have just absolutely fell in love. I haven't been perfect, but it's something that I want to continue to grow in, and I just absolutely love it. So, we talk about successful people all day long. I mean, we could talk about them. What is it that they do? What makes them, better than, this person and that person? What makes them so successful and all this stuff? And if you really sat down, and most people can watch a video, and they will come back to just doing the basic things consistently over and over. And that is what brought them success. And sometimes we can be like, is that it? Like, it's just too simple. Or we kind of go, it's too simple, it's so hard. But that most successful people will go, this is what I do, and I consistently do it every day. And that's why I'm where I'm at. And we can kind of like, we all know the story, like the taller the building, the bigger the foundation needs to be, because it needs to be large so it can sustain the building. So if you want to go up, you got to go deep. And I know that this is nothing new that people have heard, but it's kind of like we've got to go back so simple to be able to grow. Most people today want major success or want to be doing successful things without doing the work and without doing the basic work. They just want to be like, snap a finger or go viral. This is definitely what young people, they're like, I just want to be an influencer. I just want to be a YouTuber. I want to do these things. I want to, have this major success, but they don't want to do the basic things in life. They don't want to do the things that will sustain them. And we see this, they're not gaining, they're not doing what they're wanting to do. We're not doing what we're wanting doing because we're going, it's too basic, I don't want to do it, or it's so simple, I want, the hack that I want. So it actually reminds me, this weekend I went to a conference, and the minister kind of reiterated this with a statement that we all know. And he said it again, and he was like, do not despise the days of small beginnings. And I, was kind of like, and he was just like, do not despise the days of small beginnings. It's better to start off small and end big than start off big and end small. That is just, such a simple statement, and we know it, but so profound. And if we just keep like, hey, if we grow steadily, if we grow that way, it will be sustainable. And that's what we want. So this applies to everything in your life, whether you're a stay-at-home mom, work full-time, in business, at home, personal life, family life, whatever it is, we need to be consistent in the basics to form a solid foundation, as well as continually build upon those basics. We see this in the military. Everybody who enters the military has to go through basic training. And we know one of the first things they do to the people that enter the military is they teach them how to make their bed. I know, it sounds crazy. We're like, what the heck? But the military know that if you can't even be disciplined to make your bed, how will you be disciplined to do major things in the battlefield? So basic training, they've got to go to the basic things and be disciplined in those basic things to where it's like second nature so that they can go on and do major things. It seems trivial, but this small act is so crucial because it does teach discipline. It teaches attention to detail. It teaches the importance of completing small tasks as a foundation for bigger responsibilities. If you can't even do these, they're not going to give you something big to handle, okay? Because here's the thing. If you can't be disciplined in small things, how can you be disciplined in big things? Same Bible scripture too. He that is faithful with the little things is faithful with the big things. But he who is not honest with the little things will not be honest with the big things. That's Luke 16:10. Okay, so if you can't be disciplined in small things or faithful in small things, how can you be disciplined or faithful in the big things that come? So with that, where do we begin? And most people probably know the basics they need to be doing consistently. I mean, yeah, I can hear you going, yeah, I know what I need to be doing. I need to be doing this and I need to be doing this. But our brain kind of like tricks us in going, that's too simple. Like there has to be more. There has to be something else. They want the hack. We want the biohack. Whereas like if we just do the basics, that is the hack in itself. So yeah, I know you're going, where do I start? So I'm just going to give you a couple of points, and it's just something that I've started to do in my own life. So the first thing you want to do is establish what your fundamentals or your basics are for you. What are they for you? And I suggest starting off with these three areas: your spiritual life, your soul, your mindset, your learning, your growth, and then your physical body. So I suggest starting there. But what are those basics? What are those fundamentals for you? And most of the time, they're going to be very similar. Everyone's is going to be very similar, but just how we do them might be a little bit different. So for instance, in your spiritual life, it's important to have a strong spiritual life. Now, I talk about this because I'm a Christian and I just believe so strongly in this. I won't even say like whatever you believe in, as in the universe or the higher power, it's God, okay? It's God. So it's very important to have, a relationship with God, a spiritual relationship with God, grounded in the Word of God, the Bible, and just really have that strong relationship. Now, I'm going to say this and it might offend people, but that's okay. These days, people are kind of like, oh, I'm just happy to do like my 5-minute devotional quiet time before I'm heading out the door or while I'm sipping my coffee in the morning. Which I kind of say, yeah, you need to go a little bit deeper. Because here's what it's like. It's like if you drove all the way to the gym, walked in, lifted a 2-pound weight, did 3 reps and left. That's exactly what you're doing. Okay? If you're like, oh, this 5 minutes is going to sustain me. Now, I do understand that you have crazy busy days, especially, like with kids and stuff like that. I get it. You're going to have a couple of days here and there where you're like, you just have to get out the door and it just didn't happen. But that should never become your norm. And yeah, so I'll just say that it should never become the norm that way. That is not your normal. That should never be your baseline. You need to go deeper in this area. Spiritual growth requires intentional, deeper time with God. And I highly, highly encourage you to make this a priority. This is an area that you should always be wanting to grow and develop in. I will say for this one, it is about quantity and quality. Okay? It is about your quantity of time that you're spending and the quality. You want a good amount of time and good quality time. Okay? It's not one or the other, it's both. And that doesn't mean like, oh, are you saying that I've got to spend an hour or two every morning or, no, that's not what I'm saying. But you do need to go a little bit deeper than what you may have been doing. Okay. And if you can't get it done in the morning, or you can just only do a little bit in the morning and do some at night, like just change it up, do it throughout the day. But as long as you're making it a consistent foundation for you in your spiritual life. All right, so the second area would be like your soul. So your mindset, your well-being, your growth, your learning, doing the things that bring growth, bring transformation to your thinking. This is the area. So whether that's reading, learning a new skill, even in your work, the work that you do, the job that you go to, you can learn so much through your work. And I don't mean what you're getting paid for. What I mean is how you're interacting with people, how you're navigating conflict, how you're being resourceful, learning your way around obstacles. Changing your mindset around this is so big. Growing in this. I'm also going to throw in serving others, like serving other people. Some people, you don't need to go to therapy. You just need to have, first of all, a strong spiritual life, and then you need to learn and grow and learn to serve others. You'll find that your problems just dissipate, or they won't be as big as you think they are. So I know, again, that might offend someone. Oh, well. But, just this mindset of shifting, like changing your thinking, transforming your thinking, growing, learning, always learning. Especially, young people today are like, I just want to get out of school so I don't have to do school anymore. And then I want to get, graduate college, graduate uni, and then I never want to have to learn again. That's the dumbest thing you can ever say. You always want to keep growing and learning. Now, that doesn't mean that you necessarily have to be going to university or college all your life. It just means keep growing and developing and learning. And find what is the baseline for you. Something that I do is I read at least 20 minutes a day. 20 minutes a day, and I'm reading like personal development, just on different topics. I'm reading things. I've also subscribed to newsletters that just are very encouraging, so that they might come once a week, or there might be something every day. And it's just being able to put those into my life and grow and develop. Now, the third area that you need to establish a great fundamental and basics is in your physical and well-being. Now, taking care of your body through consistent exercise, nutrition, and sleep, this is foundational. Foundational. And I know what you're saying. Oh, but it doesn't work for me, or I can't find what really works for me. I need something more. But here's the deal. You know what you should be eating. You know what you shouldn't be eating. You know that you're scrolling too much before bed and not getting enough sleep. You just need to go back to the basics. Sleep, eating well, moving your body, and maybe doing some other, maybe you want to try a biohack or something. But really, the foundations is good sleep, good nutrition, good food, and movement in your body. Okay? If you can just establish this as your baseline that you consistently work through, you will see a change in your life, in your physical, not only in your physical being, but clarity in your mind, just in everything. You will just feel better. Everyone who has been sluggish and doesn't do things very, they're just like, I'm just like all over the place. As soon as they become really tight in this area, as well as the other two, they start to see a change. And that's what you need to do. Remember, this is the baseline. This is just the fundamental. You can still add things to it, and other things can be fundamental for you, but you want to establish what the baseline is for you in these three areas. So your spiritual life, what is the baseline? And I'm talking go beyond that 5-minute devotional, okay? In your soul, in your mindset, how am I continuing to learn and to grow? Am I reading? Am I changing up what I'm reading? Am I, engaging in good conversations? Am I tackling, conflict where I need to, do it, and just establishing things that will help you to grow. And then of course, in your physical being, like just those three: sleep, nutrition, movement. Are you doing those consistently for you? Okay. So once you establish what those are for you, you're going to want to now dominate your fundamentals. And this is the importance of consistency. So if you want to dominate these things, you really want to be like top notch in these things, you have to consistently do them. So consistency means to consistently adhere to the same principles or course. So you're doing the same principles, the same course over and over and over and over, doing the same things over and over. It seems boring, but there is so much strength in it. I don't know if this is a word, but I kind of came up with it. It's the compoundedness of it is so great. The compound, like the snowball effect of it is so good. When you're consistently doing these things, it doesn't just stay where it's at. It actually compounds and snowballs even bigger and just brings so much more momentum to your life, growth to your life, success to your life. That's what it does. It builds, okay? It builds on each other. It just doesn't stay the same as you're doing the things consistently. It builds. So consistently sticking to the basics creates a strong baseline for your growth and success, and small basic actions build momentum and form a foundation for bigger goals. Just these basics, doing them over and over and over. So I think most people might know the story of like Kobe Bryant. There was this coach, performance coach, who wanted to go watch Kobe work out one day. So he was like, hey, can I come watch you? I just want to see, kind of, watch what you do. He kind of wanted to find out what's the secret sauce, And Kobe's like, sure, I'll be going at 4 a.m. in the morning. And the guy was like, oh, okay, all right, I'll be there. So this guy shows up at 4 a.m. and he already sees Kobe down in the court and he's already drenching in sweat. And then for the next 45 minutes, this coach watches Kobe perform the most basic drills of basketball, like super basic, super simple. He just watched him just continue to just do them over and over. Anyways, later that afternoon, he asked Kobe, because at that time he was the best player in the world. He said, you're the best player in the world. Why do you do such basic stuff? And Kobe said, well, why do you think I'm the best player in the world? He goes, because I never get bored of the basics. And we must really get to that point where we are the same. We don't get bored of the basics. In fact, the basics are just part of what we do. I mean, we all go brush our teeth. It's something we got to do. And I don't think I would ever say I'm bored of brushing my teeth. It's just that it's something that I just do. I never even get, I make up my bed every day and I am not bored of it. It's literally something that I just do. And we have to become like that with our basics. We have to consistently do them, almost where we push past the boredom. So to recap, we need to establish what the fundamentals and basics are for our life. And I would highly suggest starting with those 3 areas: your spirit life, your soul, and your body. And then you want to dominate them every day. Consistently get at them. Now, this will be very hard at first because, first of all, you're not used to it. And you have to move, again, beyond boredom, or even the place of not seeing results right away. How many times have we've gone to do something and then, after a week, we're like, oh, I don't see any results. So you just quit. Or maybe it's a month, or maybe it's a couple months and you're just like, I quit. But you have to continue to do it. It's like planting a seed, okay? Planting a seed in the ground. We plant it, but we have no idea what's happening down below. But we just keep watering the seed, cultivating it, pulling out the weeds next to it. We just keep doing it. We don't know what's happening down below, but we know that there's going to be a harvest because we planted a seed. We physically planted that seed and we just keep watering it. And then one day we see it sprout, we see it kind of like pop up. And then, if we continue to cultivate it, we continue to water it, then it grows into a large tree, plant, whatever you planted. But what you don't want to do is you don't want to sabotage before you even see a sprout, but you also don't even want to sabotage when you see a little sprout start to come up. It's just continually watering it, continually cultivating it. So I really hope you enjoyed this episode. We're going to continue talking a lot about this over the next month or so, especially as we're going into the end of the year, because I just really believe that this is just really good. I know it's so simple, but it's just so good to be talking about this and establishing this for our life. We do not have to wait till January to start something. We can begin now. Imagine if you started like dominating your basics, your fundamentals. Imagine where you'll be when January comes around. Imagine how ahead of the game you will be and how heading into 2025 will be if you start to do those things now. So I hope you continue to check out the episodes that come. Make sure you subscribe to the channel so you're notified when new episodes go up, and I will chat to you next time.